It's no secret that the Assassin's Creed franchise is in a pretty tough spot right now. Because on one hand, you do have a die-hard fan base of people that are going to play every release, pretty much on a yearly basis at this point. But on the other hand, you have a company like Ubisoft who is not giving these games the love that they deserve in terms of breaking past the mediocrity that they have been delivering on a consistent basis. And this has left a lot of long-term fans in general, including just regular gamers like me who tries to play as many games as possible, jaded about how good Ubisoft games, specifically the Assassin's Creed franchise, used to be over a decade ago at this point. And now we're in 2025, and the gaming community as a whole has come to expect mediocrity in almost every Ubisoft release, as well as obviously terrible NFT releases that they're trying to quietly release behind people's backs. Just within the last year, you have rumors of Tencent buying out Ubisoft, which are obviously no longer rumors. This is very likely to happen depending on what happens with the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows and what happens in the coming months with Ubisoft in general and those conversations with Tencent. On top of this, you have their stock price hitting an all-time low. They had shareholders holding them accountable, begging for them to make quantity over quality and not release the same mediocre games that they have been for the past 10 years. You have the best team under Ubisoft who made Prince of Persia Lost Crown get disbanded and move to other projects within the company. Aside from Lost Crown, you have games like Skull and Bones and Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft's two biggest releases of the year, continue the same cycle of this Ubisoft mediocrity being both critical and monetary failures. And now you have the entire company's future, for the most part, relying on a successful Assassin's Creed Shadows release, a game that had more controversy than any other game in 2024 aside from Dragon Age the Veilguard probably, a game that had to be pushed back to 2025 away from 2024 into the busiest calendar month potentially of 2025. And this is because the same cycle of having a toxic positive work environment, as well as not taking, responding, or talking about this feedback internally in regards to the marketing and making of this game. And one of the scariest and worst things I think for Ubisoft right now is we still are set to get 10 more Assassin's Creed games in the next 5 years. So we're gonna have a game potentially every 6 months. But before I get into why it's a bad idea to release this many Assassin's Creed games and why this is very bad news for both the Assassin's Creed franchise and the fans, thank you guys so much for over 900 subscribers. We're almost at 920. I'm a bit sick right now, but I'm trying to get out videos every single day for you guys, so thank you so much for the support. If you are new to the channel, you like RPGs, action-adventure games, gaming news, and gaming reviews of these games, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Now, let's get into the content. Ubisoft's approach of quantity over quality could potentially kill the Assassin's Creed franchise, which is the only leg standing for Ubisoft right now until the company as a whole, in my opinion, comes tumbling down. And after the Shadows release in February, we're supposed to get 9 more additional Assassin's Creed games by 2030. And in a day and age where games are taking longer than ever to develop, they're taking much more money than ever to develop, on top of this, have more expectations on release than ever before, this is one of the worst goals for Ubisoft to have for this franchise. They are essentially wanting to make this franchise a bi-yearly release. Even worse than the Call of Duties, Madden, 2K, these yearly releases, this is, again, a bi-yearly release for games in this franchise. Now, granted, there's going to be remasters probably in there. Mobile games definitely in there. There's already one leaked to be coming out, I believe, relatively soon after Shadows. Obviously, then on top of this, you're going to have your mainline games. But in general, I don't think this cadence lends itself well to what Ubisoft needs to be doing to be a successful company, or for Assassin's Creed to be long-term a successful franchise. Right now, all they should be focused on is making sure Assassin's Creed Shadows is the best version of that game that it can possibly be by the time it comes out in February. They need to make sure this game is a success, both in terms of the critical acclaim as well as monetarily. And then in the next 5 years, focus on maybe one more Assassin's Creed game with a full development cycle behind it. And then maybe work with a different studio to make a mobile game or a remaster, but releasing 10 games in the next 5 years, There's no way you are putting in the time and effort to exceed anybody's expectations with these releases. Most of the Assassin's Creed games in recent years have only had about 2 to 2.5 years of development time, with Shadows actually having a 4-year development cycle, which actually I think lends itself relatively well to this release. But Ubisoft is having trouble currently releasing one good game, not per year, in general, that breaks the mold of the same formula they've been using for borderline forever at this point, that comes out and has a claim past the mediocre standards that everybody has for Ubisoft in general, and that is actually both a critical and monetary success. And again, the only one that did have that acclaim was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, but because it didn't make the money that Ubisoft wanted them to make, they disbanded that team, instead of using that team to work on another game or another project because of how well they did on the first one. They got all of that experience, and all they did was break up the team that worked well together and put together a complete great project for people to enjoy, and just said, alright, disbanding it all. But if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense for Ubisoft, and pretty much for any company in the world. You need to make profits to pay your employees, and for gaming to make the games that people love and enjoy. But the problem with Ubisoft is it almost seems like they're exploiting their audience at this point, releasing 9 new Assassin's Creed games outside of the Assassin's Creed Shadows release. It's just releasing the same slop over and over and over again. At least that's my fear, just to get people excited for these releases again and make revenue just to keep them afloat. And then releasing other things like NFT mobile games featuring Rayman, an IP that you haven't really done anything with. It's just sad to me. But obviously that's my opinion, and I hope they prove me wrong here. I hope Assassin's Creed Shadows is incredible. I'm going to be reviewing that game. I'm hoping everything in that game blows me away, and I have a new expectation for what Ubisoft can bring in the future. But everything coming out about Ubisoft, both with their current drama and their plans for the future, doesn't lead me to believe it's going to be anything different from the same mediocrity that they've been releasing for years and years and years on end. I genuinely want the best for this franchise. I like Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is one of my favorite games of all time, and I hope they prove me wrong again with Assassin's Creed Shadows, as well with the 9 games they're going to be releasing after that. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear down below in the comments. Do you think they should release this many Assassin's Creed games, not even including Assassin's Creed Shadows, over the next 5 years up until 2030? Or do you think they should focus on quality over the quantity of games for both this franchise and the other franchises and IPs that they have? I would love to hear your opinion down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like the video if you like the video, and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.